Welcome back to the Word Gardener. If you don't know what this is all about, please check out clip 1 and also the intro. We are up to word gardening tip number 2, and I'm Lucia Smith, speech pathologist. We're talking about temptations, communication temptations. That's what they're really called. Now, I want you to think first of all about what your child really motivated by and use that to create some temptations. Now, in clip number 1, I did say follow your child's lead, try and preempt what they're saying and be their voice. But there comes a time where we've got to tempt them to communicate a little bit more. If we are providing them with everything, if we're preempting all their needs, if we are opening their lunchbox, giving them their sandwich, cutting up, the sandwich when they need it done before they even communicate anything, then there's really not much of a need to develop communication if you've got everything done for you. So it is a bit of a fine line sometimes. We don't want to create frustration, but we do want to make things just a little bit trickier. So if I had $1 for every bubble I had blown as a speech pathologist, I'd be a very rich woman by now. Bubbles are great for providing communication temptations because lots of kids love bubbles, but lots of kids, little kids, can't blow them themselves. So often you'll be blowing the bubbles. Now, if I kept blowing the bubbles, and maybe the child's getting really babbly and even saying "baba" as they're looking at the bubbles, but if I stopped blowing those bubbles, that's the communication temptation because I know the child's really motivated to get those bubbles. How are they going to tell me I want some more? So it's almost like you've got to play a little bit silly and like, I don't know what you want right here. You've just got to slow it down and set up that temptation. Now, it's not always something that you expect it to be. Years ago, I worked with a little boy. He was around about 3.5 at the time. He had no spoken words at all. In fact, he had very little communication at all. But he was obsessed with eggs. He just wanted to get eggs in his hands. He loved the shape of eggs. So sometimes it's not what we expect. His grandma said if she takes him to the supermarket, he'll just run to the eggs, get them out of the cartons, hold them so tight, often he smashes them. So we used that as our communication temptation. We did not take him to the supermarket, no. I got just some coloured toy eggs. I held on to them. He really wanted them. And we did use picture communication along with offering pictures, along with modelling the words. But we held those eggs until he at least tried to communicate something. And then when he did, we'd say, egg, you want egg. All right, but we've got to slow it down. We've got to set up that communication temptation. Surprise, surprise, his first word was egg. And his first combination, which came pretty soon after, was want egg. All right, so I'll tell you another quick story. Years ago, I worked at a community health and I had a wonderful allied health assistant who worked with me. At the end of term, she went through all my toy boxes that I used in play with kids, and she chucked out all the broken ones. I'd actually left the broken ones in there for a reason. They were great communication temptations. If you've got a child who loves cars and you might give them the one with the broken off wheels and I've got the one with the wheels, that's tempting them to communicate something. Even sometimes a bit of a surprise. It's not always about them saying, I want that car that you've got. It might tempt them just to go, hey, uh-oh, or broken. So, the doll with the arm that had fallen off as well was a good one. For those little ones who loved dolly play, I might give them that. And that's a real communication temptation. So let's think throughout the day what you can do to set up some communication temptations. Maybe at snack time, meal time, we can set that up with food and drink. Remember, we're not trying to frustrate our children, but we're just making it a little bit harder. We're slowing things down. Maybe we put the snacks in a clear plastic container with the lid screwed on tight, and we give them that, and that's got their favourite biscuits inside or something. Maybe we hold the drink out for them, and then we give them the drink, but they can't put the straw in or they can't get the lid off, same sort of thing. You're waiting for them to communicate something at least to you. Offer a tiny amount of food. You've got the rest of it. You're wanting them to communicate that they want more. It might be with a sign, it might be with a gesture, it might be with a picture, or hopefully and eventually it will be with that word. And lastly, you can put things out of reach, but still visible. All right. Same with toys and activities. Put a favourite toy up on a shelf where they can see it, but they can't grab it. Provide a favourite puzzle that they've done before and they know what's meant to be done with that puzzle, but hide one of the pieces. So it might just be a 4-part insert puzzle, and just slow it down and wait for your child to actually start to look, to engage with you. All these temptations are often really good for connection as well. Blow some bubbles, then stop, we talked about. Use a toy that relies on you to operate it. So often I use spinning tops. Lots of kids really love spinning tops, and I've got these great ones which can actually pile on top of each other, but lots of young kids in the early days can't actually operate them. So they're relying on me. So I will stop and wait for them to sort of give me some sort of communication. A wind-up toy is another example too. So first of all, find the thing that your child's really motivated by and think, how can I set up some communication temptations with this? All right, so we can work in you're the voice. You can still be the voice, but first of all, you're trying to tempt your child to at least make a noise, make a gesture, attempt a word before you jump in. And it might even be if your child is speaking single words, right? They might very clearly point to that. I don't know, it might be a yogurt that they want, and they might say, yogurt. You know they want the yogurt. You're going to create the temptation by saying, yeah, there's a yogurt. And then you're going to look away. You almost are tempting them to say, I want the yogurt, or give me the yogurt. We're not worried about manners at this point, right? Even if a child says, give me the yogurt, and they haven't been speaking much at all before, I'm not fussy, they don't say it, please. All right, we will cover more of the tips, and you can see how they start to work in with each other. There are downloadables which will guide you through how to use these. Share them far and wide, and also, of course, if you would prefer just to watch things, you can follow me on my YouTube channel at Pelican Talk and look at the Word Gardener series. Follow them and you'll see when more are released. I'll see you in the next clip.